is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
Set the scene for this because it's a big buzz right now as more information continues to come out about Bryan Kohberger, the case in general, and what he may or may not have done well before the actual night. So let's set the scene on this. It's the middle of the night. October 10th of 2021 is where we're taking you to. And if you're playing along at home, you know that's not the night of the quadruple homicides. October 10th of 2021, a college town, Pullman, Washington. Young woman wakes up in her off-campus home to find a man in a ski mask. He's standing at the foot of her bed.
I can't even right now. Can I just go walk away and let you do this story and I'll come back in 5 minutes? No, thanks. Oh God,
No.
It's just hitting home. No, you're going to stay right here and you're going to listen to this shit right now.
Yeah.
Sit down.
This is going to be some trauma therapy for you, Stacey. You're just going
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exposure therapy.
Thank you. Continue on, sir.
You haven't had any man in a ski mask standing in front of your bed like this last week?
No, I have not, but I'm ready for it.
Okay. Because I'm like, where? Okay.
No.
Okay.
But just I haven't been single for 20 years. So.
Well, just go watch a bunch of horror movies and get it out of you. And
Oh God. No wonder I can't sleep.
yeah.
No wonder I cannot sleep. No, we mentioned in an episode that we did yesterday where I referenced this story about Kohberger.
Yeah.
I totally forgot what we were even talking about. Whatever, neither here nor there. But just talking about how it's a weird world that we live in where we have to think about things. We were talking about the teachers and moving on from district to district, even though there may be some red flags, and just how you have to think differently in the world and how my world has shifted. So now I'm thinking differently, that there is not a man sleeping on my right side anymore that would protect me, which I don't even know if he would have. I'd like to think he would have. I don't know.
You have ninja cats. And
I have ninja cats, and I have
ninja cats will save the day.
I have 4 big knives, and I have 2 guns. One's loaded, and then I have a huge baton, and then I have some rattan sticks that I could just, Tony's laughing, but you know what? I was in my very first radio job in in Fargo, North Dakota. I was stalked. A guy totally smashed up my car and then called me the minute I got into my shift and said, "How did you get to work today?" I got the F out of Fargo, North Dakota,
and it was
3
Fargo.
days later.
It just adds to the mystique of the story. It's Fargo.
Doesn't it, though?
Jesus Christ.
Doesn't it? Yeah, I got the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And that was my first foray into stalkers in radio. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
People become obsessed with your voice. They feel like you are talking directly to them.
And then they end up at the foot of your bed with a knife.
It's
Which
a
is
scenario I
exactly-
don't ever want to think about. I want to be ready for it.
Well, here, prepare yourself, because what happens next here is fast, it's terrifying, and strangely familiar. Here's where it gets wild. Over a year later, the man who would shock the world by murdering 4 students in nearby Moscow, Idaho, is arrested, and suddenly this older case, quietly marked inactive, filed away and collecting dust, gets pulled back into the light. Was Bryan Kohberger, the man now serving 4 life sentences for the Idaho slangs, also connected to this eerie break-in? Was it a dry run, a rehearsal, or just a real creepy coincidence? So let's dig into this a little bit, because what investigators found and what they didn't might change the way we view everything that happened in that narrow window of time before the Idaho murders took place. So what exactly happened? Well, it was just before 3:30 in the morning A student in a house and 4 sorority sisters jolted awake to sound of her bedroom door creaking open. There in the darkness stood a figure, burgundy ski mask, silent, holding a knife. She didn't scream. She didn't freeze. She kicked. She kicked him hard in the stomach, knocking him off balance. He fell back. He then bolted out of the room, down the stairs, out the door, vanished into the night. Her roommate, hearing the footsteps thundering upstairs, met her on the landing. Together, they called police, but when officers arrived, they found no sign of forced entry, no dropped items, no fingerprints. The intruder had moved like a ghost. Pullman police canvassed the area. Neighbors were questioned. One was looked at closely, but there wasn't enough to go on. The height description was about 5'3" to 5'5". That didn't help. There were no injuries and then no theft, just terror and a knife. The case was quietly labeled inactive until 2022. Then in November of 2022, the 13th, just a 15-minute drive from the sorority house, the University of Idaho students were brutally stabbed to death in their beds. The suspect, the WSU PhD criminology student, Bryan Kohberger, living in Pullman at the time of these murders. Kohberger was arrested then in December, and suddenly everything shifted. Pullman PD reopened the 2021 home invasion. Could the same man be behind both? The mask, the knife, the timing? It was too much to ignore. That's what we're learning about now. Detectives now know Kohberger moved to Pullman in June of 2022, 8 months after that break-in. Could he have visited before? Maybe for a graduate event, maybe to get a feel for the area he'd soon call home. They start digging and comparing files, looking at travel records, academic schedules, even campus visit logs. The victim never saw the man's face, but the behavior, that quiet intrusion, that targeted bedroom, that weapon, it all seemed too calculated, too precise. And it gets darker because the layout of the house that was broken into, it resembles the Idaho murder house. A back entrance, multiple roommates, young women asleep and vulnerable. That level of situational awareness, that confidence, it doesn't usually come from nowhere. Pullman PD did take it seriously. A sergeant revisited the case, noting the parallels, but it wasn't just about speculation. They needed hard facts. Could Kohberger have physically been in Pullman that weekend in October of 2021? They checked with WSU. Was there a recruitment event at the time? Any trace of Kohberger on campus before his official enrollment? And the answer was no. No sign he was there, no records, nothing from hotels or transportations. School said they were unaware of any visit by him that weekend. Then there's the height issue, too. The victim in Pullman estimated the masked man was between 5'3" and 5'5". Kohberger's around 6 feet tall. Not exactly a close match. It's not a perfect science, though, either, and people can misjudge height in the dark, especially under trauma. But it is a red flag for investigators. So the case, it's once again inactive. There's just no evidence putting Kohberger at the scene, nothing tangible anyway. The questions, though, are still out there. I mean, let's entertain the possibility, even if Kohberger wasn't in Pullman that night, what if someone else was? Someone whose MO eerily mirrors his? Does that mean Kohberger could now inspire a copycat, or is it more likely we're looking at a coincidence wrapped in the fog of hindsight? Also, what if the height was off? What if he was there but slipped through the cracks? A dry run. That's what makes this so creepy, is the similarities in a town that doesn't usually have a lot of these sort of issues. A campus that doesn't seem to have a lot of these issues, at least not that we are aware of. Or are there other things? I don't know the answer to that question. sometimes facts like that get buried. And I'm not accusing them of burying anything. But as we found out very recently on this program, just how many facts get buried within education systems for PR reasons about things that happen within their grounds that might get quietly swept under the rug so they don't get publicized. Again, I'm not accusing. I have no idea. I'm just saying it's a thought that crosses my mind because there's a lot of that. I'm not just saying this institution, or I'm saying as a whole. That I would imagine there's more of that going on than we're unaware of. That's your turn now to.
Is there any possibility there's somebody else in this area was going to maybe do something, and then Kohberger stepped in and did something and spooked this person? Because 5'3" and 5'5", that is a very small man.
Well, my question is, if this is all in the dark, how good is anybody at especially if you're laying down,
right,
and you're just seeing this person scramble out? I don't know.
But she kicked him.
She kicked him, but then he would have also been kind of in a hunched state if he kicked him in the stomach. So he would have been down. Might have been hard. I don't know. I just don't know how much I would rely on the height thing. But more importantly, was he there? Could he have been there physically? That's the question.
I don't think there's any doubt that he could have been there.
Well, but we'd have to look at, I think, more records of his history. He'd have to dig into his cell history. He'd have to dig into everything and go, where was he tracked at that point in time? He wasn't in town. He wasn't enrolled there. He was in the other part of the country, very likely. So why would he have been there, and why would he then attack a random house that he really knew nothing about because he didn't even live there yet?
Unless he was plotting this. Or, again, is there somebody else in the area?
I'm sure there's other people in the area that like to do horrible things like this. But they just don't always, there's probably not, it's not like a rampant problem. But do they come out at night sometimes? Yeah, they do. That's why it's such a scary image, is because it's used so many times of the scary man in the house with a knife.
Yeah.
Because it does happen. But does it mean it's Kohberger? No, but it certainly does make sense that they went back and looked at it, because there was a lot of parallels right there that, yeah, I don't know. Is it common? What are the stats would be on this for a lone male to break into a sorority house and attack that? I guess it would kind of depend on the security of the sorority house. I don't know. It just seems like a way that you would get caught very fast with a lot of people there. It's not like you're going to go to some secluded area, or like somebody that's just like living in their own private apartment. I don't know. What I'm saying is the confidence this man had, the same confidence that Kohberger had to go into that house, was exhibited in this one. That's why I'm saying is odd about it, because I'm just thinking, like, if you're, I don't know, you're thinking logically, like, where would you be more likely to get caught breaking into a home? One with like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, how many more people in it? Or one person?
I also want to point out that I know when I was in college, which was, long time ago, I lived in a frat house for a little bit. I wasn't supposed to be living there, but I was. And they didn't lock the doors. The front door didn't even have a working lock on it. The bedroom, like your individual rooms, had locks, but anybody could come in that house at any time. It was open to the public. It was frightening. And the door, this was a very old home, like over 100 years old. The door locks, the door handles, the door knobs were just, old antique. Like you could jiggle them and they'd like fall apart.
Sure.
So that was a frat house. Now, I would hope there's better security nowadays, but this was like 30 some years ago.
I think it depends on the college you're at and the type of fraternity houses they have, because I'm here in the Fayetteville area of Arkansas, so we have that college here, the Razorbacks, and it's like the frat houses here are stunning. It's like. Yeah. Is that Skull and Bones over here? It's not, but they're very beautiful homes and they're well kept up and they're like very good fraternities and whatever it is all is. I never got into any of it. I don't get it. But of course, like I went, I have a lot of friends at like UW Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And, I've been into those frat houses too, or Wausau, and they ain't that. It's like borderline haunted house sometimes. That's basically being kept up. And that's what I'm referring to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that,
frightening. Like nowadays, I think if the parents had known that their kids were staying in a home that didn't have a lock on the front door. Yeah. And this was in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah, but the kids in Idaho, they didn't either. They knew one, and they didn't care because it was just they felt safe. And I think, unless I think you're from like a bigger city or places where you really got to think about that, you're not going to think about that. And that's just, I don't know. It's either in you or it's not, or it's going to be in you because you'll learn it the hard way. But if you're going into life and that's just not what you've ever done, you're not just going to start doing it. You should. It'd be lovely. I came from a place where it's like, and unreasonably a place where it was lock everything. When I look back, it's like, well, now I would, but it helped me. I've always been very safe and I lock everything. I'm very secure, but that's not a majority of people, I think.
Right.
And maybe that's good in some ways, but not when it comes to security and giving yourself a false sense of security. Unfortunately, that can backfire spectacularly, and that seems to be what happened here.
Yeah. I don't know. Is Kohberger, I think I read that he said that wasn't him, that he had nothing to do with that break-in. I thought I read that yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you believe him?
I do. I do, because I think he'd want to take credit for it.
Okay.
I believe it's kind of like BTK. He wants credit for anything that he's going to get called out on, and he'll eat it up. And then, but he's even said in a real creepy way, he's like, he doesn't want to take credit. What is he was like? I don't want to take credit for someone else's work, or it was something. I think it was like that. It was a very creepy statement referring to homicidal madness as some sort of like constructive art.
How gross, huh?
Yeah. And I kind of believe that because he has in some other cases. When he could articulate and, write and stuff, I don't think he's in the greatest, he's probably going to die soon, honestly. He would be putting out clues. He was just playing with the game. He was playing with people up until he really couldn't. Much anymore, and if he could, he would.
What a sick way to think about things.
Yeah,
really.
But that's with Kohberger. You wonder, because Kohberger's like the he the way that she said it, the way that Olivia Gonzalez said it, a wannabe. It's true. It's 1000% true. But he's a wannabe of a little one of this, a little one of that. He's a little one. There was a horror movie, like a horror crime movie in the late 90s. I remember. I don't remember. It was like Bringing Out the Dead or something like that. But it was a killer that was going around and taking body parts of different victims and placing them in different places, and eventually creating a crucifix with these body parts that were in like this abandoned New York building, and detectives find it, and it's horrifying. But that's kind of what Kohberger reminds me of, is like he's a little bit of this. He wants to be a little bit of that. So, and his actions are always kind of sporadically changing. Like he can be kind of BTK-ish, he can be kind of Bundy-ish, he can be kind of this. And Robin Dreeke has a really interesting theory too about where this knife is.
Really?
Based on another killer that Kohberger studied. And we're going to be talking about that this week. So that's going to be an interesting one to listen to on the podcast, because he's even, when we were talking the other day off the air, he was like, and I did this and I made this map. And I'm like, holy shit. Okay, this is going to be an interesting conversation. So that's coming up on the podcast. So be sure to press subscribe wherever you're listening or watching us. And
so he thinks the knife is like somewhere hidden.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, where else would it be? But I'm personally, I think it's at the bottom of some river. There's a lot of rivers out in that area.
I don't know.
Do you think he wants it to be found?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't thought enough about it. And it's not the conversation that we're going to have when me and Robin talk are not, it's not about, does he want it to be found? It's about, what was he planning? What was he planning beyond this? What was the intent, and where did it come from? Like, because there's some emulation there we're going to talk about with another killer that would make some sense.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one to listen to. And if you're someone who's interested in like, hey, I'm going to go look around, and you want some interesting insight from the counterintelligence guy from the FBI, listen in. It's going to be really interesting. All right, that's going to wrap up this episode. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this. Could it have been Kohberger? Am I completely missing the boat, thinking what I'm thinking is logical over here, but maybe I'm missing it? Let me know your thoughts, if it could possibly have been him, and if there's other pieces that I just am ignorant to and haven't seen yet. Let us know. Or was it not him? Let us know in the comments section. For Stacy, I'm Tony. We will talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.